What's up, Fate family? Jarvis Got Divorced, Jarvis YT here, and welcome back to another Diecast review. Today, we're going to be looking at the 2014 Corvette Stingray. Right off the bat, I gotta admit, I'm kind of biased. I think this was one of the first Corvette models to be produced after the redesign they pulled in the early 2010s. I think around the same time that they redesigned the Camaro for the new Transformers movie. And I've always sort of preferred the more angular approach they took to the car. Especially how they made the back tail lights sort of pseudo rectangular shape rather than the circle lights they used to have. It's not that they were bad. It just looked a bit too retro for what should be a stylistic performance car. And I really do think that the new design of the Corvettes really does fit more for what market the car is trying to compete in. So I just had to get that out of the way. But this is Hot Wheels' take on it, and honestly, it's not too bad. This is just a stock standard translation from full scale to 1/64 scale. There's some pretty okay painting on this. Now this car in particular hasn't seen a whole lot of use, but the paint is still chipping off at the front and at the back, so a little bit worrying. And the Corvette word mark right here is sort of tearing off. And without any other decals, the car just sort of feels plain. Kind of feels like when you go into one of the newer Need for Speed games and you just set the main color of the car as blue and you don't add any decals. And I mean, that can work for some cars, like I'd say most Lamborghinis, but it doesn't exactly work out for cars like this. And I do think that Hot Wheels made some permutations that actually had decals on them and not just painting of the front and back lights and Corvette insignias. But the lack of any other coloring on here is just sort of disappointing. And also, as you can see here, my specimen is damaged on the side pretty badly. That's actually a pretty serious abrasion. Not entirely sure how this one sustained that, but that's the only major abrasion of the sort that's on this vehicle. So on to the tires. Absolutely no painting on them. No shiny stuff, no funny business. And no, it did not all wear off. It just wasn't there to begin with. And although it does make the car feel a bit more plain, at least I don't have to deal with that shiny stuff just peeling off. That always just bothers me. So points for that. I can barely see the inside of this car, and it's not going to show up on camera. So you just have to take my word for it that it looks like a pretty standard Corvette inside. It's just black. Just matching with the base. So yeah, that's the 2014 Corvette Stingray. Overall, it's just a pretty plain feeling car, but it's a good translation to 1/64 scale, and it's a pretty well-designed car. One of the better ones from the Corvette lineup. Although I do sort of prefer the newest ones a bit better, like the post-2019 ones, since I do think that they elevate this design a bit, because I think Chevy, they've really been killing it lately with their design game. I think they're going in a bit of a Lexus direction, and I'm not a huge fan of how they design their cars, but I think right now Chevy's in a pretty good place with their design, and right here I guess you could say this is a time capsule of how they started to get there. So yeah, if you see this one in stores, and I know that Hot Wheels produces a lot of Corvettes, I'd say pick it up. There's no reason not to have a Corvette in your collection. They make so many of these cars, man. This is the only one I have in my collection, funnily enough, but I have a whole bunch of Camaros. And Corvettes and Camaros, those are the types of cars that the Hot Wheels brand was built for. So if you don't have one of these in your collection, get one. This is a staple, a rite of passage for any collector or Hot Wheels fan in general. So yeah, that'll do it for this review. As always, thank y'all for watching, and that'll be it for me. Jarvis got now.